my own strategy this time around is that I am going to support a northerner in 2027.
Really?
Yes.
Let us be very honest. Nigeria is in dire straits. Nigerians are in a battle for survival. And
guys, while I know they finish, so the former spokesperson of the Labour Party in 2023 presidential election, in the person of Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, the former Nigerian Nollywood actor, came out to critically, analyze the reasons why P2B cannot become the president of Nigeria come 2027 general election, saying that it is better to zone it to the north, that way the party ADC will have more chance of winning the election against Tinubu. Now, moving ahead, ADC gathers momentum in Gombe State as they converge. Former PDP's offices has been taken, and converted to ADC in quest for momentum and gaining weight against the 2027 general election. Meanwhile, Randy Peter was on Arise television, where he talked about how the president jets off to France to reflect on his administration, to reflect on what he has actually done so far for Nigeria, for leaving the entire country with about 774 local governments, and no place in Nigeria is good enough for the president to actually stay and reflect. Now guys, this video is a must watch. Watch this video from the beginning to the end, because a lot of analysis were made by Kenneth Okonkwo, and the reason why Nigeria needs a new leader, a leader that can be held accountable. These and more issues were discussed by Randy Peter. Now I'm going to be playing the first video of Kenneth Okonkwo emphatically stating that P2B cannot become the president of Nigeria in 2027, no matter what happens, because according to him, there's a lot of challenges. Tinubu, is not just a mere politician that can be defeated by anyhow person, except a person who is backed up by strong personalities. According to him, P2B does not have those personalities, and P2B is not a violent type. So P2B lacks the strength, lacks the might to actually dethrone the incumbent government, stating that this government is the incumbent government who has a strong hand, but then requires a northerner, who has the backing from the north and a bit of backing from the south to actually overthrow Tinubu. Now, there are so many reasons which he mentioned. Nigerians are not happy. He's saying that P2B will not become the president. Of course, a lot of people are kicking against it. But then, let us watch and listen to him. And probably there are some statements which are reasonable or which are not reasonable. And some people are saying these statements are political. He's saying it because he disapproves of Peter Obi, because of the scandal he had with Peter Obi after the 2023 general election, when he came out and stated that Obi is no one to be trusted. Watch this video to the end, smash the like button, and don't forget to stay tuned, because after this video, I'll play you the next video of Randy Peter making a bold statement to, against Tinubu's, leaving Nigeria to reflect on his own led administration. Watch this video to the end, guys.
Now, it is a very easy thing if people will yield to strategy and not sentiment. Give Bola Tinubu his own style, his own strategy, and he's back to Bodilon. What did Bola Tinubu do in 2015? He went to the north, picked a man that he knows that all the northerners are in support. As at that time, Bola Tinubu wanted to be president, because he said it's his lifetime ambition. But he knew that if he, as a southerner, tries to take out an incumbent southerner, he will fail, because nobody has succeeded from the same section of the president, incumbent, to take out an incumbent president. He went to the north and brought a man that he knew that all the northerners are supporting. And when he brought him, any combination from the south took out Jonathan and he bided his own time and he came in later to become the president. That is strategy. If my own strategy this time around is that I am going to support a northerner in 2027.
Really?
Yes. And it must be my condition to the northerners. It must be a northerner that the whole north will be willing to support.
Like an article.
If the whole north is willing to support an article, why not?
Or
So that
or a Tambuwal.
if the whole north is willing to support, why not?
Or an Erufai.
Good. The person must be qualified, must have experience, and if he has experience in the presidency, it's an added advantage. And when we put up anything from the south, that will push him through. Let me tell you.
But would that be fair? Would that be fair that there was an 8 years of Buhari,
Good.
a 4 years, if the case is the way you have put it, of Bola Tinubu, and then now the South has not had a share of 8 years in the rotation understanding of Nigeria, politically speaking? Would that be a fair game?
Good. Thank you for this question. And let me use this opportunity to clarify. The term of the president is 4 years, not 8 years. According to Alex Ekweme, what they agreed initially is that this post will be rotated amongst the geopolitical zones for 4-year term. And it will, in 24 years, it will have completed. But when Obasanjo came in, that was why Ekweme contested for 2203 election. That was when he said it. When Obasanjo came in, he took 8 years. But what happened? When Yaradua came in, before he finished one term, he died in office. Did they not insist that he must finish his 8 years? The answer is no. You know why? It is one term for the president, and the 8 years is for the incumbent. If the incumbent is doing well, if there is a supervening event that stops an incumbent halfway, the other half is there for every Nigerian to contest. And if it goes to the other side will now spend 4 years. That was what happened between Yaradua and Goodluck Jonathan. Yaradua spent 4 years. Just take it 4 years. Of course, you know he died before the 3rd year. And then it was a supervening event that did not allow the incumbent to finish the 8 years. What happened? Goodluck Jonathan came. The North said, please, let us finish our 8 years. They said, no, it's a joint ticket. Something has happened. And this is the vice president. Treat it as a joint ticket. Let them divide the position now into half. 4 years for the North, 4 years to the South. And after, it will come back to the North to finish its 8 years. And that was what happened. Even when Jonathan wanted to now continue to do 8 years, the North said no. That will now be injustice. And they fought, and they took it back to the North. And the North finished 8 years. Now it is back to the South. And Tinubu has become incurably bad. And now you want to terminate his incumbency. Anybody telling you that it's injustice, if the North comes in, if the South comes in, and whoever wins in a primary election will take it for 4 years. Where is the injustice? It has happened before. So, and anybody telling you to bring a fresh Southerner to compete against Tinubu, a Southerner, is trying to tell you to zone the ticket to Tinubu, and Tinubu will win outrightly.
So you are saying that invariably that Tinubu's possibility of becoming or being re-elected in 2027
yes,
is incumbent on the opposition fielding the same candidate from the same zone. But that if the opposition wants to beat Tinubu and the APC,
yes,
the candidate must come from the opposite zone.
Absolutely. And I'll give you the reason. In 2019, the opposition wanted to use Atiku with Obi to beat an incumbent Northerner who had just done 4 years. Did they succeed? No, they failed. And what happened? Tinubu, strategically, in 2015, he used a Northerner to remove an incumbent Southerner. Did he succeed? Yes. Because that is
he conceding to the fact that the North has a more political weight in the power game?
No. Let's look at it this way. Somebody from your zone, if you listen to Olufalaye said his election was rigged. But immediately the people rigged him out. They prevailed on him that he is a fellow Yoruba person that he contested with. Why not let him leave it? We have not had a good electoral system. This election is going to be written, like I've always told you, in 20 2027. They have already prepared it. Have
Really?
they done electoral? Yes. Have they done
Do you have
electoral
evidence
reform?
to that?
No. I told you 2023 there was technical glitch, and they have not given us the excuse till today. Technical glitch, by my own definition, is the process of suspending an election so that you can write it instead of transmitting it. And there is no assurance
what
that it will
ground-
not have in 2027.
If you say
so
that
if they
plan to
write
rig
the
the election
2027 and is a fellow Southerner that you're competing with, they will prevail on you. Please leave him. He's your fellow Southerner. And then that is how they will steal the election. So if you bring somebody from the Southeast, even if you win, they will steal it from him. Let me tell you the strategy that will make the Southeast man to be president. Do you know the Southwest has never contested election against an incumbent? Strategy. Because they know in Nigeria, if you don't have the establishment supporting you, even if you win, they will steal it from you. Olufaleye say it was stolen from him. If you ask me, I will say we won the election in 2023. It was stolen from us because we didn't have.
Peter Obi won the election.
That's my belief. In 2023, I believe it. But they stole it from us.
Let me ask
and
you.
if you do it again, they will steal it again from you because there is no incumbent to back you. But if you bring somebody from the north, nobody will prevail on him to leave his victory
Quickly.
because because he's not from the same side with you.
Yeah, quickly. How do you then tell Nigerians that the ruling party has said these people are spent? They've been in power. What new thing do they want to bring? How do they defend the failures of the past government, which they were part of? Some past governors, past ministers. How do you defend that the failures of this country in the past? You are coming and you say you want to redeem it. Would Nigerians believe the coalition and some of the elements in it?
Okay, let me give you an example. The worst of PDP now has become better than the best of APC. Assuming you talk about an article, if he can take us to Obasanjo days, are we not going to celebrate? Assuming. Because the performance of APC has beatified. PDP has beatified. Whoever served, for instance, in Obasanjo's government, they paid off all our debts. You remember? And we were not owing. APC has borrowed Nigeria into about 177 trillion naira in debt without nothing to show for it. We are enjoying darkness, not light. We have told you now, people cannot fly to go and come back. I've told you how flawed took away 500 persons in Niger State. The president has not gone to commiserate with them. I've told you how 500 persons were roasted by terrorists in Benue State. Now, if you get a president, assuming who was with Obasanjo, there was no security problem then. We were moving in the right direction. No debt, our economy became the largest in Africa. Assuming, wouldn't you be happy?
Right.
So when they say the same old people, please, APC.
Of point has been made by Kenneth Okonkwo. Nigerians are saying that most of these things he's saying it and then he's being biased because of the political issues which he had with Peter Obi. Now the big man in my previous video came out to say that he left Labour Party because Peter Obi, lacks the ability to coordinate, because Peter Obi does not have the ability to stand by his word. According to him in that my previous video, there were fractions in Labour Party which wanted Peter Obi to be out. Now, Peter Obi came out and said that there were some issues which needed to be settled out of the party's reach, and they had to go to court. According to Peter Obi, according to the big man Kenneth Okonkwo, after the court, Peter Obi had something to do which he did not do to ensure that the party remained oneness. Now they were all rooting for Peter Obi to come out and give the order as the party's leader, but Peter Obi woefully failed. That is why he thinks that Peter Obi is very, very incompetent and cannot manage the affairs of Nigeria. Now, a lot of people are also criticizing some of those statements, stating that this guy called Kenneth Okonkwo is an overzealous politician who is even looking for where it will favor him the most. And then this is the reason he's making all of these statements. Away from that, I'm going to be playing the next video of the big man Randy Peter, who has always stood up for Nigeria, speaking the truth, ensuring that the right thing is done. Now, Randy Peter has always come out to push this agenda of electoral reform over time, it is for the betterment and for the profit of Nigeria at large, not for a collective or a personal gain. Now, this issue of electoral reform, he has always talked about it, but on today's episode, he's talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu leaving this country, jetting off to nowhere after spending a whole lot of money, in the name of, trying to restructure this, restructure that, trying to actually, change a whole lot of structures, buying private jets worth, billions of dollars, and yet he's not able to find a good place in Nigeria to stay and reflect on his failed policies. Watch the video to the end, and on the next slide, I'll be bringing you the video of ADC campaigning seriously in Gombe State ahead of 2027 general election. ADC has taken over Gombe State, taking over all the secretariats belonging to PDP. As the election, they try to build momentum for the upcoming election.
Let us be very honest. Nigeria is in dire straits. Nigerians are in a battle for survival. And if nothing else tells you the clear picture of what Nigerians are going through, few days ago, the presidential spokesperson or aide, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, put out a statement that the president is on his way to France for a 2-week working visit. And while in France, what the president is trying to do is to get an appraisal of his government and to retreat and reflect on his own reforms. Meaning, after spending money in 2024-2025 budget to renovate the presidential villa, the vice president's home, the president's house in Dodan Barracks in Lagos, and the vice president's home in Dodan Barracks, buying private jets, and in a country of 774 local governments, the commander-in-chief does not have a proper location in Nigeria to reflect. But the president jets out to reflect about his policies from a foreign country. The president wants to reflect about his policies and has yet to make a statement on the 30-day rant challenge of Nigerian youths calling for help, where the cost of living is killing the living. Tomorrow it is Uromi killing. Next tomorrow it is Benue, it is Ondo, it is Plateau. What exactly is going on in Nigeria is an outright lack of accountability. And that is why for this 30 days ranting challenge, it will not just end with ranting, it must be backed up with action. Nigerian youths need a system, an electoral system that can guarantee free, fair, credible, and peaceful elections so that you can be able to elect proper leaders. And that is what my own call to the president is. Thank God his aide said he is a Democrat. The hallmark of every democracy are free and fair elections. The president has to commit to that process in 2027, where people will not be beaten out of polling units like it happened in Lagos in 2023, so that Nigerian youths can begin to live and not just exist or struggle to survive. What exactly is there as an incentive to be Nigerian today? The institutions are almost stacked against you. Law enforcement is almost against you. The judicial system is not where you can go. The market is not what you can even afford. There is just sheer hopelessness across board. And that is what you are seeing us do in these 30 days. And if anybody as a leader is listening, then they should be taking practical steps to resolving these issues, most importantly guaranteeing a free, fair, and peaceful process in 2027. One of the most difficult jobs in Nigeria or in the world today is speaking for or trying to defend the APC federal government. It is a very, very difficult thing to do, because you know why? There is nothing there to defend. So you remember that the APC campaigned for 16 years of PDP misrule. In fact, this president was part of a protest called Occupy Nigeria, when the then President Jonathan was trying to remove fuel subsidy, which he eventually have removed today, and yet the devil is in the detail in terms of implementation of sanitizing the oil sector and NNPC. So, and then by 2027, President Tinubu's administration will be 12 years, or APC will be 12 years put together. Imagine living in a government of renewed hope and experiencing the kind of unfortunate hopelessness that Nigeria is experiencing. So it is difficult for you to explain what the federal government, the APC-led government, is doing. But I can give you some. A government that knows that more than 100 million persons were living in multi-dimensional poverty by the end of Buhari's administration came into power, and the first priorities were deciding to renovate a vice presidential home for 20-something billion, purchase of new private presidential jets, a presidential yacht, renovating the villa, money for purchase of SUVs for the office of the First Lady, which is not even a legally recognized, constitutionally recognized office. So when you see the frivolities and wastages in government, and then that same government in turn begins to ask the people to make sacrifices. So it is we who will think of what to do for our country, while the leaders continue to live in luxury and affluence using taxpayer money. Look at the National Assembly. Immediately they shared monies for themselves and purchased bulletproof SUVs, one for more than 160 million. Yet the minimum wage of that country is 70,000 naira. And that is a country where leaders are still demanding sacrifice from the people. So at what point does this sacrifice end? At what point does President Tinubu, his cabinet, the senators and his government begin to make sacrifices? The president is a former governor. He's on life pension from Lagos State. The vice president is a former governor. The senate president is a former governor. So with all the resources that are shared, 60% of Nigeria's corruption is administrative. Inflation of government contracts, budget padding. Who is sanitizing and fighting that corruption? But you cannot say anything because the government does not even feel beholden to the people. And that is why no matter how much Nigerians continue to cry, it falls on deaf ear. Why? Because they know that the electoral system can still be manipulated to rig people back into power, using also the Nigerian judiciary. So if I have the ears of any Nigerian politician right now, I will want them to know that power is transient. You cannot be in power forever. If you don't leave power, power will leave you. Nigerians are not demanding for too much. We only need a country to live. As a Nigerian youth demanding for a better country, I'm not a criminal. There are non-criminals that are not being attended to. But once you voice out against the government, they come after you. So Nigerians must decide whether we want to live as slaves in this country or we want to live as freeborns. And that is why I'm telling you that this 30-day challenge must not end with just the 30-day rant. There must be maximum civil pressure on the authorities. Number one, we must reform our electoral process. That is the backbone of corrupt politicians. They know that they can meander their way into the public office without consequences and accountability. So if I'm talking to Nigerian politicians, I'm telling them, your time is up. You either do the right thing for this country, or a generation of young Nigerian leaders will wake up and will succeed where you people have failed woefully and continue to fail us. Because Nigerians are hungry, Nigerians are dying, the tension is palpable and the frustration, and the leaders are completely detached from the reality. It is unfortunate, but we as Nigerians must find the wisdom and the courage to fix.
Alright guys, now don't hear I'm all from Randy Peter, Kenneth Okonkwo, and the next one I'm going to be playing this video of Gombe State. The guys came out in their numbers celebrating and cheering on. It's a new dawn for Nigeria according to them. Is this going to happen? Because there's a lot of political opposition, a lot of issues here and there. People are coming out saying that okay, ADC does not have a chance to win, come 2017 election, stating that Tinubu's might is very, very strong. Because we have seen this guy called Tinubu paying people millions of dollars during the election for them to vote him in. And they're saying that in as much as ADC claims to be very, very united, that there are still fractions inside them. There are spies inside there. There are people who are sent by the opposition to actually come and spy on them and know what is going to happen. Now, this is the issue in Nigeria, because the time in 2027, we go see a lot of the campees. A lot of people will leave, ADC. A lot of people will come in, into ADC. All these, movements contribute to the party's failure. Since there's no any electoral law that bans politicians from, going from one party to another, I think it's high time there should be a law, to actually restrict the movement of politicians from one party to another. I believe then these politicians in their respective parties will begin to work very hard to ensure that to obtain Nigerians' approval and to be able to gain the Nigerian vote, in any given election. Over that, let me play the video for you guys to watch. Don't forget to stay tuned, because this matter no be here where you die. Me and you still get discussion to talk about the issues where they solve.
Finally, the coalition has a movement. After days of meeting, the movement has a face, the face of a political party. Members drawn from different political parties in the state, satisfied members of the ruling party, and new members that are willing to join the movement form the crowd. Though the rumored political bigwigs that had defected absent, they were represented by individuals with one name of the former Minister of Communications, Professor Isa Ali Pantami. Pro-tem leader of the party in the state highlights their mission.
The coalition movement is not about power grabbing. Nobody is after power grabbing. We are after Nigeria. We want to put Nigeria on the path of success, on the path of progress, and to rescue Nigeria from the current insecurity that has been given the country.
Other leaders also share their thoughts.
We want to unseat a poor government that doesn't know what they are doing, government that lacks capacity to govern Nigeria.
But now with the coalition, APC becomes the party to be in. So for that reason, I'm stepped in and I'm willing to provide my contributions in order to save Nigeria.
This is a platform that women should support, because if you look at the percentage of women in governance today, our percentage is low. At least we are supposed to be giving 30 to 40% of women representation.
Indeed, the next chapter of political activities begins in Gombe, as the coalition movement, as they want to be known, stake their flag in Gombe State. Chika Udenkwo, AIT News, Gombe.
Oh yeah, now I don't see the joy where they full everyone, face. Nigerians are happy that okay, there's a move by some political might to ensuring or to restoring the Nigerian past glory. According to a whole lot of big might like Atiku, P2B, El Rufai, and the rest of them, name them. These political mights are so big that we are even asking who is going to be the presidential candidate of the ADC come 2027 general election. Atiku is saying that if he's voted in, he's going to fight corruption. Don't forget, because of Atiku, we are still using generator up till today. Yes, Atiku give us electricity. That is another question Nigerians need to start asking themselves. If Atiku is voted in, will he bring electricity to Nigeria? Since he's a leader, he's the one who controls the electricity that comes in terms of bringing in generators. This guy called Atiku is the one. Is he going to remove generator from the market, or is he going to take electricity out of our houses to ensure that we buy generator? Since it is his own business, will he kill his business to better the lives of Nigerians? These are the questions that we need to start asking. A lot of Nigerians are already asking those questions. Will Atiku be trusted after the statement made by the former presidents? Obasanjo, who has never approved him even once, even though he was his, vice president. Obasanjo feared this guy called Atiku, stating that his level of corruption was, to the highest. He could go any length to get anything, no matter the cost. And now, let's weigh Atiku, El Rufai, Peter Obi into this matter. As we are moving into 2027, it is high time we begin to discuss and know who we can choose, the devil we will feel choose among these people. Now, talking about El Rufai, who was the governor of Kaduna State, was there when there was a whole lot of killing in southern Kaduna. He even went as far as negotiating with the bandits, Boko Harams. We saw videos where they buy people for Kaduna, southern Kaduna, where they were much more Christians than the Muslims. Now, there was an agenda, a statement which was released that this killing in southern Kaduna was engineered by El Rufai to ensure the massacre of, the Christians were there for that state. You understand the matter? Now, can we now trust El Rufai to become the presidential candidate of ADC? Can we now trust them? Now, don't forget, this El Rufai was the sole engineers that brought in Muslim tickets, into Nigeria, that we are seeing Shetima and we are seeing Tinubu today, all from the same faith. Now, there were some statements that arose during those, period, that these people are actually coming to, terminate Christianity in Nigeria. But then, there's too much to be done for you to actually terminate Christianity in Nigeria, in as much as there's little that can be done to actually terminate it. Now, can we now trust El-Rufai, who brought in Tinubu, and now is not the one criticizing Tinubu? Can we now say that, okay, El-Rufai has become a born-again, Christian, a born-again Muslim, as the case may be? These people, in all ramifications, are only seeking to remain, relevant in politics, nothing more. If El-Rufai, for me, and my plight, if El-Rufai becomes the president of Nigeria, he would do nothing, or if you even underperform, if you ask me. What was El-Rufai's legacy in Kaduna? What has he done? What is this single thing that we can say that because of El-Rufai, Kaduna is known for today? These are the questions we begin to ask ourselves. Now, coming back again to Atiku, who does not stay in Nigeria, does not know the problem of Nigeria, has no history or understanding of what Nigerians are going through, because this guy literally lives in Dubai and comes back anytime he hears that election is coming up again. That is when this guy comes up. He comes to Nigeria and start begging Nigerians to vote him in, because Nigerians are so weird that they forget easily. Nigerians tend to forget very, very fast of all the issues that are bothering them, all because of some little pennies which are being flashed in their faces. Don't forget that come 2027 general election, politicians will still succeed in buying votes as cheap as 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, and 20,000 naira. This is because this issue of voting capacity in the north is kind of more high than the southern and down the south. Yes, these people are not even knowledgeable. A lot of them are not that knowledgeable in terms of the suffering we are going through, that it is actually government that is actually doing it. This is why they can easily buy their vote. Now, let's come to Obi, who Nigerians are saying, okay, this is whom we want. How far can we also trust Obi? Can Obi, in his meekness, be able to, take Nigeria out of corruption without a fear of, being subjected or being defeated in the second tenure? Now, Obi came out to make some statement that he's only asking for 4 years. He's not asking for 8 years if he becomes the president of Nigeria. This one, when they talk say 4 years, I just need one term. Now, normally, one of their, their strategies to getting into power, they will never tell you they are coming for second term until they finish 4 years and the power suits them to continue. Of course, no issues if Obi comes and start performing and doing those magics which we are looking, up for. Don't forget, when Buhari was in power, there were some statements which was released by the president, president of Nigeria, Tinubu. He went as far as protesting, stating that even granting some press that Buhari has failed, that this is the worst administration he has ever witnessed. Now, this is the man that brought in Buhari. Again, El-Rufai is saying this is the worst administration. Now, this same El-Rufai brought in Tinubu. Okay, who then do we trust? Obi, who we have seen his legacy in Anambra State, rejecting some political benefits like land in Abuja, 2 plots of land in Abuja, or 2 hectares of land, in Abuja, with buildings and the rest, forfeiting his, pension as a governor of Anambra State. Now, putting Anambra State as one of the best in terms of academics. They are number 1 in Nigeria presently, performing the best in WIEC and in JAMB. Now, what do we now say? Do we now consider Obi? But then there are some weaknesses which Nigerians are saying that Obi, might have in terms of commanding authorities. Can Obi actually command the armed forces to stand still? Will they work in favor of Obi or will they work against Obi? These are analysis are things we need to begin to draw, even as 2027 comes to, comes so close. You understand? We begin to ask ourselves, who do we really need in this ADC? The issue is, will Obi even succeed to become the presidential candidate of the ADC? The big man said it is a must he will contest as the president. Nothing like vice, nothing like anything other than contesting as the presidential candidate. This is to tell you that any failure of ADC to pick him as the presidential candidate for the 2027 general election, Obi will decamp. This is facts, because the like of Atiku, El-Rufai, And other big political minds like Gandwija and the rest may not want to actually step down. But then, let's see what the matter holds. Let me know your opinion in the comment section. Don't forget to smash the like button. Also, share your opinion in the comment section, because this matter now, national matter, where we say all of us got to our mouths into, because the betterment of Nigeria, is our priority at this point. Nigeria is going down the drain, and it is high time we begin to speak up and try to see how we can actually resurrect this nation back to life. Oh yeah, now, this is much we can take on this one. I'll see you all on my next video. I'm out.